Hey, great Wednesday evening, and it is good to be back at 100%. Sort of. Let me say, it's good to be back on all platforms.
Now there's a whole lot of postings.
Well, it's kind of trippy because now we just already started. We've got comments coming in. You're late. No, actually, we got in right on time, almost on time, like a couple of seconds late. But it's good to be back. Guys, please continue to go to the YouTube page and please continue to go to the Erasmo Custom Candidate page because those pages, at least we know we can still keep no matter what happens. And how you been, Sam?
Good, good. It's just the weather's still over here. I don't know if you guys are still getting weather from the rains from last couple of days, but over here it's still kind of like coming and going. So the weather's not that great right now.
Is it like raining or is it hot? Is it
Yeah,
muggy? Is it
oh, it's raining. Um, like at 72 degrees.
72 degrees raining? That's 72 degrees would sound really, really well right about here.
Yeah, it's supposed to be better tomorrow, but let's see what's up.
Let's see what is that. Let's see. Good
Like
evening. Huh?
it's so crazy. It's supposed to be raining for like 2 weeks on and off.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, Mr. Castro and company. That's Sam. And we might get Mr. Commissioner de Los Santos on in a little bit. And I don't know if you got to see, but Commissioner Los Santos actually had, I don't know how often he's going to have, but he had Between the Lines show that was at 8 o'clock. And again, I want to say thank you for inviting me to be the first guest on that show. Yeah, it was a big honor, great honor. With that said, I do have some questions for Mr. Dos Santos in regards to the subject matter that he touched on at the start of the show. So we'll see if he can make it or not. I know that he was in some major discussions with individuals out there. But let me see what's going on. Let's go to the comments and then we'll go into the Ruben Gallegos drama that's going on. And then we'll go from there. Push that like button. Guys, if you're on that YouTube page, you like that damn button. Like it or dislike it. Either one. Good evening. Good evening. Buenos nachos, guys. Rudy. Love you. You're late. No, not. And your is you are. Did you guys know there are hurricanes on both sides of the U.S.? Yes. I don't think that they're going to affect us. I think the closest scare that we have was with this other one, Sam, that was headed straight our way and then fizzled.
I did not see that one. I know there were like two or three like getting close to the Gulf of Mexico, but I didn't keep up with them.
No, the first one was coming straight at us.
Yeah,
A
the only
plus.
I remember seeing was the ones that got, I guess got hit over here by Monterrey and all the rain,
Oh
but I
God, yeah.
recuperated because they were showing lots of like I guess showers over there, and it was getting all flooded, even though it's like on a mountain.
Yeah,
So it's,
let me tell you, Monterrey was flooded, bro. Pretty bad. Ya saliste del bote? I am out of Facebook jail, thank God. So it'd be good to have that communication with other people out there. I'm so ready for the toilet. Hola, Gloria, hermosa. Well, check out. Oh, good. Yes. We'll talk about it. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Amelida, good evening. As long as you have a show, it's okay to be a bit late, sir. Not a big deal. I appreciate it. No, but we're actually out of time. Let me say, just to explain to a lot of people out there, because one of the things that I think that was being asked is, who is this Ruben Gallegos and why should we care? And that's a fair question. Thank you, Emma. Appreciate you, Emma. It is a fair question. Ruben Gallegos is one of these political people that has always been around these political circles. They're a family that is well known in the city of Brownsville, guys. Take into account that we do have a school named after the Gallegos, the Dr. Ruben Gallegos Elementary. So it is a major deal. The Gallegos used to be part of the Texas Southmost College Foundation, and they are part of these individuals that have been constantly on these boards and committees. Well, back in 1980 something, the Gallegos all of a sudden decided, hey, let's open these facilities where we're going to start to keep and educate these kids that are coming over from Mexico. And they applied for a lot of the monies out there that are grant monies that were coming for the government, because a lot of these shelters, all of these shelters, Sam, all of these shelters are funded by federal funds, by federal dollars. And again, one of the things that a lot of people need to be very, very careful with, what happens is a lot of the people here in the city of Brownsville think that because this is Brownsville, they can do anything that they want. So what happens is, because they've done so horribly in all these boards and committees, they've rateado everything here locally, and no one has prosecuted them, because we have absolutely no oversight, guys, in regards to what happens here locally in regards to the corruption. Todos se tapan con la misma cobija. You're never going to hear the DA going after real criminals when it comes to corrupt politics. And I'm not just saying Luis Saenz. I'm saying throughout the past years, the individuals that were busted, most of the individuals that were busted by the feds. By the feds, at least in our lifetime. So what happens is the feds all of a sudden start to say, like, well, wait a minute, there's millions and millions and millions of dollars going your way. What happened, Sam, was that one of their accountants, while they were filing reports with the government, they sent off the wrong report. Because what happens is, you got the report that you send to the government, and you got the report that is the real one. Well, this is hearsay. This is what happened is, one of the girls, I don't know if it was accidentally or on purpose, sent the real report. And the government said, oh, wait, where are all these millions of dollars? Why are these guys overpaying themselves? So the Gallegos were out there. And again, I know of one way that they were out there.
Sorry, when did it happen? When they sent the email?
Mande?
What year was that when they sent the email?
This was back in 2016, 17.
Okay.
So, un momento, por favor. I got actually some work. So what happens is, you've got these individuals that are making all this money. Now, I knew of one way that they were scamming money. The way that the government has worded this part of the indictment is, hey, guys, they paid themselves more money that they should have. That's the way that it's out there, because there's a cap. And this is one of the things that I went back and retracted on. There is a cap of 187,000, Sam, I think. 187,000, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't know the limit, the numbers of it. But
It's
just for the younger crowd, though, when he's saying that there's a cap, he's talking about a limit and not a lie.
Yeah, not a cap.
No, because cap is lying.
Oh, I thought cap his ass. That's the one I knew. Cap his ass.
That's from back in the day. I'm saying there's different definitions depending on the generation.
Are you calling me old?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're very right. So what happens is, then the government started coming. This is when I found out about it. This is back in 2016, 17. I actually went out there and posted some information on it, and went out there and said, what's going on? And I actually got contacted by some of the Lucio folks. And thank you, Justin. Between 2014 and 2017. Thank you, Justin. I got contacted by some of the Lucio folks, and the Lucio folks said, Erasmo, could you go easy on this guy right now? He just had a heart attack. This is back in between 2014 and 2017. And I said, well, I don't want the guy to die on me, but the story's there. It's already out there. So I knew that he had a heart problem back then, had a heart issue back then. But again, they called him up to Washington. So they called him up to Washington to testify before the FBI or before some committee to find out what exactly happened with all these monies. Back then, guys, the Lucios were on their payroll. They were also getting money. There's a supposedly Lucio was a business partner, was allowed to be a business partner, because what happens, Sam, is like when you see someone that's making crap loads of money, everybody wants a little part of that gig, Everyone wants a little part of that little cut. So what happens is the Lucios became their attorney. Lucio the third became his attorney. Did nothing, was just receiving supposedly like $125,000 a year for nothing. But maybe you could say that he was on retainer. Who knows? But the word was that he was part of their business partners' business dealings. Again, that's just the word. So no, Eddie, I'm not accusing of anything. It's just that what was the word back then, and that you wanted more, a bigger slice of the pie. And what happens is, then there's a little bit of confusion. Well, was he his attorney, or was it a business partner, or could have it been both? Now, why is all that important? That all that is important because he went to Washington to speak with these individuals. He's getting federal funds. He's in contact with our congressman up there regularly, because the congressman is also part of the group that goes out there and asks for monies to come to these places that take care of these children, Sam. So the congressman is up there. So the congressman could be involved. The congressman back then was Filemon Vela. We got the Lucios that are on payroll, maybe business partners, there's, up in Austin, Texas. Well, all of a sudden, earlier this year, Filemon Vela quits. All of a sudden, Eddie Lucio quits. And I don't know if you remember, Sam, it just didn't make any sense.
It didn't. And it's kind of like, even if you're quitting, that does not relieve you of the responsibilities, They're still gonna go after you if they were involved.
Oh, yes. But this is what we're, again, and look, this is where a lot of times, and we talk about this a lot, and I mentioned this. This is where we start to try and fill in the blanks, because we're trying to connect the dots, and that happens because we don't have anyone giving us any information. So we need individuals to be a little bit more on the forthright side. And look, if everything was transparent, Sam, if we'd get more information, then we wouldn't be asking a lot of these questions.
Yeah, but you need to take into consideration that anything they're saying will be used against them.
Oh, yeah.
Clarifying it. Like, if it clarifies, it makes sense, but they're not going to say something that prosecutes them.
Oh, yeah. No, not talking about that. But what I'm trying to say is, if they were actually doing their job as elected officials, they'd be more a little bit on the transparent side, because el que nada debe, nada teme. But you're right. They're not being transparent, because anything that you say can and will be used against you. So again, it's that doubt that's left. Are you actually serving the community, or are you serving yourself? And right now, the only thing that we got, besides Sam falling asleep, the only thing that we got out there is that Filemon Vela quit, Eddie Lucio quit, and the senator said no more.
And what connects them is Gallegos, correct?
Gallegos, IES, and other people too, because I've heard names like Adela Garza again. But again, how many times does this chick's name have to come out? I mean, do we need more pictures from the FBI?
And then, isn't she the one that's also friends with the DA's wife? So that's why the DA doesn't quite go straight forward with them.
But the DA was wearing her shirt.
But focuses more on the DUIs and all that other stuff.
Because the DA was wearing her shirt. The DA's wife was wearing her shirt. So there's going to be no prosecution of Adela Garza, despite the fact that the FBI, Sam, I have the records. Huh?
If you don't see the evidence, it's clear as day.
It's there. I mean, what else do you want? Something. Nothing. I've heard names. And again, look, Dr. Linda Gallegos, the principal at Veterans, again, a friend of mine. But she was on the payroll too. And, there's word out there that she's already mentioned to her inner circle up at Veterans guys, I might not be here tomorrow. And she's right. She might not be there tomorrow. Might not. Because we have the sheet. She received $75,000 from IES. For what? And you know what, Sam? What's going to be interesting is for them to go back and all these people that were making all this crazy money, and ask for justification for payment, because they're family members, compadres.
They're gonna try to justify the payment, just like the one from the county that says extra work.
Like that one. But in this case, the and something that could be a little bit on the different side. These are federal funds. These are federal monies. So the government ain't going to dick around. Ain't going to be playing, folks. The government's going to go, what did you do for $75,000? Now, Sam, are there records? Are there reports? Are there timesheets? Or did they just get paid because they're family members? So it's a huge stain, again, on BISD, a huge stain on state representatives, Austin, huge stain on the Congress seat, a huge stain on everyone else here in the city of Brownsville. Because they had their hands in everything, folks. And it, again, the TSC Foundation, Gallegos had to quit this week. He was on it. So my theory is, and this is a theory, guys. My theory is the feds either have already talked, and again, I've heard the rumor that they've already talked to the Lucios, they already talked to Filemon Vela, and they knew that this was coming to the point that they said, I'm out, because if I run, I'm going to be called into court in the middle of a campaign. Because look at the timing, Sam. The timing is horrible. The timing is horrible. Right before the November election, they all quit.
And that's crazy. It's crazy to find out that it was all found out because of an email that was made by mistake.
Federal funds are a very touchy subject, but by the same token, demand respect and accountability. 100%. Politicians are all corrupt. Maybe not all. Some are okay. They're like a palm tree in Alaska. Maybe. Yeah. Thank you, Judge Justin. Between 2014 and 2017, or a maple tea in Brownsville. 32 is not old. I appreciate that. He's going down. Very well-respected family. I feel bad for Dr. Gallegos Sr. He will be tomorrow in court. He has a hearing tomorrow in court. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but he has a hearing tomorrow. And again, Justin, and look, I want to say this with as much respect for all. I don't feel bad for any of them. No one. I feel bad for anyone that might not have known. But you think that these people, like Dr. Gallegos Sr., you think you wouldn't question Sam why he's getting a $600,000 paycheck a year?
And there's no way you can hide that stuff.
There's no way. So again, how can you justify getting $600,000 a year if you're not doing anything? And again, that is an assumption. Just stating, don't know, but it's what the case is about. They're overpaid.
He's talking about assumption because they don't clarify anything.
No, there's no clarification. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if there's some type of evidence or proof out there that they were actually working for that group. Because the difference is, if it's a private company, I'll hire Mr. De Los Santos, Commissioner De Los Santos.
I'll do it for $500,000.
And that, that's lowballing the amount. Should be getting. But you can hire your family, friends, all you want. It's your company. But as long as you're generating your own money, you're going to be okay. But not when you're using the federal government's money. That's what's going to put them in hot water. See, yes, Commissioner Santos? No. The problem is the federal funds.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
And I know, and I think there was some confusion because I remember you guys were talking about it one day and they said, well, no, it's not because it's federal, because the superintendent makes more than that. But it's not necessarily that with federal funds, you can't pay more than X. It's that with federal funds for different positions, just like Medicare, for example, they're only going to reimburse X amount of dollars for insulin, X amount of dollars for an EKG, whatever it is. Same thing here for this position in this sector. This is what's allowable. That's the max. And maybe it's different in education.
So it's interesting, but I think it's more interesting because of what we don't know. Does that make sense? Yes. Because we don't know. What we do know is that Junior had a heart attack, or a stroke, or just the stress today, and is in ICU. Prayers for him and prayers for his family. You know, you don't wish a heart attack on anyone. You don't wish anything on that. But he already had a weak heart. We all know that. He already had issues with heart issues. So again, being in jail, no bail, having to go before, getting arraigned, a hearing today, didn't make it. Did not make it today. Dr. Gallegos, if my sources are correct, will be at a hearing tomorrow. Senior. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because I think that slowly more and more individuals are going to be mentioned. And one of my theories out there, I don't know if you've heard it, is that there might be a connection between individuals resigning from their elected positions and all this mess that's going on. But we'll see. In every one of these cases, it's pathetically how the fraudulent parties enrich themselves for years on end whilst the wheels of justice move so very slowly. Lo bailado, nadie se lo quita. I'm going to yes, but no, because let me tell you, I don't know if I would want to live a millionaire's lifestyle for 5 years and then have to spend 3 days in jail. I don't think, and I'm saying 3 days as
I was about to say 3 days ain't that bad.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I mean, not a day in jail.
I'll take those 3 days or 5 years as a millionaire.
No, let me tell you, being in jail, I know y'all have no knowledge of this. It's not a great thing, but it's it's not a great thing, guys. It's not.
There.
Didn't I hear Sam giving the menu of every detention center in South Texas on the show last week?
I just conozco la lunch lady.
La lunch lady? Like, you guys are on speed dial. But, it's not a great thing. So, I mean, God, pero again, in regards to lo bailado and se lo quita, all that you've lived goes in a second. It's what you live in the moment. And if the guy's going to have to spend 5, 10, 20 years in jail, chasco,
Well, that's where the investigation comes in, and they'll try to make him spill the beans on more people. You try to split it up between the rest.
yo nunca lo saco al público y
he's talking in the back, so he's waving at you.
Hey, Papa. But it's not a good situation for him, not at all. And God bless him. Sylvia got 6 years. 6 years for $10,000. 6 years. You're talking about 17 million.
And with this little thing, going back, maybe like if they were to involve Lucio, do you think they would probably thoroughly check all his transactions to see what else pops up? Well, maybe that they'll use that as an excuse.
Well,
to do some forensic content.
What Teresa says is very, very true. The problem with the feds is they move like molasses, super, super slow. And at the end of the day, they don't care that individuals got hurt, got
Because
thrown
with
under the
them,
bus.
they gotta build a case to where there's no errors. One
Airtight.
simple error and it's a mistrial of the whole thing.
Yeah, no, they don't like, the feds don't like to lose a case. So yeah, it's really really horrible. But in the process, a lot of good people get hurt. A lot of good people get destroyed. And I'll say this because of what Sylvia tried to do. I actually had a conversation with a former board member today in regards to this, and it's just it's a horrible situation. Not everyone can sustain. Not everyone can deal with the blows that individuals take while you're in office. you know Not everyone can take it, and I will say that I took some really heavy blows from Sylvia Atkinson, Baltasar Salazar, Minerva Peña, Priscilla Tipton, and Drew Brown. Screw those people. And but I'm still here because I had absolutely not an inkling of doubt that their accusations that they made while filing police reports, going to the Department of Homeland Security, had no worry about any of it being true. With that said, Commissioner Los Santos had his first show today.
Yes.
Uh,
And I realized after I got off, I forgot something very important that I wanted to touch on. Just
Well,
very briefly,
part two.
the last city commission meeting, not last night, the one before,
Uh-huh.
there was public comment during the public hearing on hot tax when Ashley Alshear got up and said that they should not be giving money to the Children's Museum and any organization affiliated with their executive director because the Children's Museum has not proven that they're a safe space for kids. That's ridiculous. And that wasn't public comment where the public can say what they want. That was a public hearing where she was making accusations that have no foundation or basis whatsoever. The feds were very transparent with everything related to those charges. There was nothing that had to do with direct contact with a child, with anything at the Children's Museum. There was no investigating of families or interviewing of families there. There was never any suggestion that anything happened on those grounds or to a child at that entity. And they came out right away with a statement. I came out right away with a statement on Manny's show. I came out on your show. The mayor and I got on top of that. All of us were addressing this. So for her to say they haven't proven they're a safe space, she's full of it. No one has proven they're not a safe space because absolutely it shows the practices they had in place. Nothing bad happened to any child during any of that time.
Well, and I will say, because I had this conversation with a member of the Children's Museum board, and at that point, we hadn't received, and then you came out afterwards, and then
He's waving at you again, babe.
then then afterward, okay, and this, because I remember, because I had this conversation with this board member. Said, tell the community something.
Yes.
We haven't gotten a statement. Just that's all you have to do. This Erasmo, es que this and this. I said, that's great. Just tell people that, because at this point in time, I said, at this point in time, we had no one make mention if any of the children had come into contact with the individual. And again, we hadn't gotten that information in regards to where exactly the arrest had happened. And I just said, that's all you have to do, because and then we met there at that at the Morgan La Mantequilla's event. So we had that conversation as well. And I told her, I said, just throw a statement, and they did. Afterwards they did, and I'm very very proud that they did. Again, one of the things that I hope, it's, we don't want, they're doing it because we're out here screaming about it. I want them to do it because it's the right thing to do, because it would have put a lot of individuals' mind at ease and at rest in regards to this and this and this is what has happened. These are the steps that were taken. Now, in regards to the hiring of Bosat, again, I've never been very, very convinced that, there wasn't a little bit of favoritism out there. I'm never going to be convinced, but I could keep that idea, that reservation to me, and hope and pray that it doesn't happen again. The number one concern was We just want to make sure that there was no contact between the individual and children
Right.
because of the severity of the accusations, which I think have not gone to court, have not been proven guilty yet.
No,
Right?
he went to court. He pled guilty.
Okay,
He pled
guilty.
guilty. Now he's just waiting for sentencing.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that. So the severity of sexual acts between kids of 3-month-old and 6-month-old, scary. And I think that's where a lot of the craziness, and I'll use the word craziness,
Mhm.
Happened because no answers were given in that time. And look, one of the things that I really wish that individuals like maybe someone from the Children's Museum or the board, Children's Board, would have come out and said was like, guys, it's an ongoing investigation. We can't say anything. We just want to guarantee you that all children's safety is number one concern. Right? We didn't get that, and that's maybe part of the issue. Paper trail will sink them. That's the Gallegos comment.
Yeah.
Pura tranza y compadrismo son dudas siempre los mismos. I saw you in the meeting, Mr. Erasmo. Great job. Love you, Glory. Did you see the meme of the video by Abbott playing basketball with son? No, actually, haven't. Send me a link. If they all go to jail, I would be happy. Yes, me too. Anyone that needs to go to jail, go to jail. What I want to know is the two other people that are in the sealed indictment. I'm going to say that it's Gallegos Sr. and Gonzalez.
But I don't know. That's been confirmed, hasn't it? Gallegos Sr., Gallegos Jr., and the CFO, which is JJ Gonzalez. I've read that, so I don't think that's sealed.
I haven't read the indictment, honestly.
I didn't read the indictment, but I know I've seen it on different media.
I think I see.
Like they were stating it that because I know I believe JJ Gonzalez, the CFO, confirmed that he was named, and so he was going to be turning himself in, I think, through his attorney. Maybe
there's those two. I think that there's, again, the way the feds work is just so crazy. I'm going to think that there's other people that are going to be mentioned. And again, don't want to make any assumptions, but I'm hoping that some of the people that I think that they're ratas. How many Panzo schools we have named after disgraced politicians, community members? Oliveira. I don't think it's named after Rene Oliveira.
It's not named after Rene. And
No.
Filemon Vela, what was the disgrace with Filemon Vela?
It's not Filemon Vela. It is his father.
Yeah.
Vela. Dr. Ruben Gallegos, that's the one. The Oliveira is for some one other Oliveira. I can't remember who. Filemon. The Vela was for Filemon Vela, the dad, right?
I think so.
Was Oliveira the one that the university library was named after? Tony? No.
I can't remember the name.
But even if it was the son, what was this? I don't remember a scandal or disgrace with Filemon Vela, the congressman.
I think they're confusing it with Rene.
No, and maybe he's making comment to my comment that it's just weird that he quit, right before the term, and I don't know if you've heard my theory. My theory is if they would have sought re-election, right, like they were on the ballot right now, they'd be up in November. Because of this timing, this case hits right now. It's like no le entren. Again, that's just theory based on no fact but supposition. Mrs. Gallegos.
Hi, Maggie.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Mrs. Gallegos from Veterans. Wow. Again, the only thing that is, again, I'm questioning is I saw at least one. I think there's several statements, 1099s or something that I've got. I've got them here. So I think I sent them to y'all guys, right? Where Linda Gallegos received $75,000 back in 2007. Is that going to come into question? I'm going to say probably yes.
It's Arnulfo Oliveira.
Arnulfo, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have no idea who that is. Gallegos had a heart attack before his hearing. Dad, getting the rain tomorrow. Yes.
Now, did you hear that also someone else who was there today told me that Gallegos' dad and wife didn't even realize he'd had a heart attack. They found out while they're in the court, while they were waiting for him to show up.
It could be. But remember, he's been in jail, no bail.
Right. So all of this happened while he was in jail, right?
Yeah. My question, I guess, again, he is in McAllen ICU or was in McAllen ICU. Was he being detained at the Fed's place up there in McAllen instead of being detained here in the city of Brownsville? Because I think he was arrested and placed in city of Brownsville, but then all of a sudden he's in ICU in McAllen. And I know the Feds have like a little jail up there in McAllen, so I wonder if they took him there.
It could have been like from pressure from the questioning. He could have been like be getting some questions and.
Well, no, this is before going to the hearing. This is like in jail. He had a heart attack or a panic attack.
Yeah, but while in jail and you have no bond, you're getting questioned.
No,
every so often.
They can't do that. You can't get questioned unless your attorney's there.
How do you guys know this?
You watch too many.
They're always questioning people when their attorney's not there.
Commissioner de los Santos informed me about that process.
Oh, okay. So
the process of being in jail.
See, you got to pay attention because he'll throw crap.
Maggie, get him back in Facebook jail, Maggie.
He'll try. You need me to? You want me to work this out?
Maggie threw me in Facebook jail. So Santos Dennett Street needs to be fixed. Too many potholes.
Yes, you are absolutely right. I used to live in that neighborhood, so I know how bad it is. And it doesn't just need to be patched. It needs to be completely redone with curbs and gutters.
That probably not smart to fix it right now. I say once the neighborhood that they're building there, once that's done, it would be smarter to fix it then.
Well, and on that topic, Sam, and that's something else I didn't get into depth with on the infrastructure that I was talking about, what we've accomplished so far. But that's one of the things, aside from the drainage improvements, where we've got already the widening of the ditches there along Morrison, and there's solutions that are in the works right now for the Country Club and for Tradition Circle and Achievement. But also for Tradition and Achievement, what we're working on is using federal FEMA money to buy them out. That way those homeowners can sell at fair market value, because there's some areas that, they're absolutely just underwater all the time. And it's not fair to those homeowners. So we're trying to find relief for them.
Joe's right.
Okay, before you move on, I just want to know real quick. So are these hearings going to be open court?
Yeah, they're open.
Because now that I'm retired.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Then you come back and report on them in the evening.
No, I just wanted to know.
No, you have to.
I don't have to do anything but pay taxes and die.
And get me in Facebook jail.
and get you back in.
Politicians and government globally did not shady during the pandemic. They know probably oversight 100%. Let's talk to Roy about the accusation people are talking about. I respect you, Roy. So let's hear what you have to say about all these people are talking about. And that was part of what Commissioner Los Santos had on his show. My question, Commissioner, and again, look, more power to you. How did you feel about the show and calling these two individuals out?
Oh, I loved it. There would have been a lot more, except for one. I had a family situation earlier today that took about 2 hours of my time, and that was 2 hours of prep time that would have helped me be better prepared on what I wanted to do on the show. So that was part of it, because originally I was going to do it at 7, but because of a family business earlier today, that's why I pushed it to 8 o'clock. And I'd already told people 7-ish. They're like, "Are we still on for 7?" I'm like, "No, it's 8 o'clock." It feels good because it had to happen, because especially after that last city commission meeting, and that one was like through the heart for me, because it was not during other parts of the meeting. It was during the public hearing for the budget, where I could not be in the room. And to hear somebody up there saying the Children's Museum is not safe for children, that's a lie. There's absolutely no basis for it, other than she doesn't like the answer she's getting, but she absolutely got answers. But it's not just a mom asking questions like I showed you tonight. This is a mom who's making accusations with no basis, no foundation, and is absolutely talking about conspiracy and theories and conspiracies out there. It's ridiculous. So I felt very, very good setting the record straight.
Good. Again, one of the things that I think that is really, really very important is one of the things that I've stated and I appreciate. At least you're coming out and talking.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
Hey,
else.
quick question though. Going back on Mostat, did they ever clarify, like I guess his hiring process? Did they ever clarify, well, how he got hired, and out of all places, that's where he went to apply?
I'll tell you what, and the best way, because we've looked at this also. And so one of the things I did, there's those different services out there where you can run background checks. I did that. And I ran a background check on myself, on Erasmo, on Vito Cardenas, on a few other people who are making these accusations.
I know you did.
And on Daniel Molstad. And I can tell you right now, out of all of those people, the only one who had a clean record was Daniel Molstad.
Yeah.
At the time of his hiring, there was no history, there was no criminal record, there was no nothing. But the individual making the accusations, there's a record there.
No, I understand that, but like as far as like the hiring process, when they ask you like several questions, because apparently so many people are trying to apply for the museum.
Well, there's a lot of people that want to work there, and like we've talked about, you've got a lot of high school kids that have graduated and they're looking for jobs and going to college. Yes, but they're high school kids; they have zero experience. So this is an individual who already had experience, who had a clean record.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Got hired.
I don't buy it.
When you say experience,
to your point earlier at Erasmo, and I get when you say there's got to be some kind of favoritism, or there could be. That's a possibility.
Yeah,
and it could be that they say, well, no, this applicant is so and so. We'd like to give him some consideration. I can't say that didn't happen because I'm not involved in their hiring process.
Yeah,
yeah. The case, and I respect at least that you're saying you think there's some kind of favoritism there. But that's different from people saying no. Roy de los Santos made them hire him.
No, yeah,
that's being said.
And I want to make this very, very clear. I don't, I do not believe for a second that there was not a little bit of, let's throw this position to this individual. No doubt. I'm like 97% sure that that's what happened. But with that said, let me say one of the things that I do not like where a lot of the stuff was going was that a lot of individuals, and again, part of the problem, guys, and I made mention, folks, guys, keep it based on the facts. That's what all we can go on. It is not a fact that if someone is gay or someone likes to dress up, someone is a transvestite, whatever, that does not exclude them from being able to work in any position out there, any position whatsoever. That should never happen. It is not a reason to exclude individuals from anything. And again, that might be your opinion. I mean, we had a couple out there that were going on and on during the comments, and going like, guys, your personal beliefs are great. Give us something a little bit more substantial in regards to how it truly affects the city of Brownsville. Why are you coming up here and preaching to me? I don't want people to preach to me except if I'm in church. And again, I do not care for it. I do not stand for it. I hate discrimination. I hate the individuals being singled out because of their sex, their gender, or their sexual preference.
How about if they like to wear chanclas all day long?
They should not do that.
I'm discriminated against for that all the time. But I've heard you defend me on that, Maggie. Thank you very much. And I defended also. I'm like, so am I supposed, if a constituent comes to me with a problem in the city, am I supposed to look at how they're dressed first and determine whether or not I'm going to help them? No, we shouldn't be judging people by that. So thank you for defending me, Maggie. And yeah, I know we were talking about that. They're not Birkenstocks. They're Olukai.
They're not expensive chanclas, Maggie.
And no, they are.
Oh, cool.
They're orthopedic. I order them online because I've got plantar fasciitis. I'm flat-footed. So no, I looked at what were the best. There were 3 different types I bought and I looked for what was most comfortable that also looked good, but absolutely had to be orthopedic.
We're getting a couple of questions in regards to the light bill. So let's go into the light bill real quick. And
first and foremost on the light bill, like I told you on my show, I was the one commissioner that voted against any changes because I said there should not be changes until we get the TANASCA audit and we understand the entire landscape of what we're talking about here. And I think part of owning your own utility should be, if this is about the gas prices and we use gas to produce electricity, I understand that explanation. But then that should also be that, you know what? This is our company. We can take some of those profits and keep subsidizing so that you don't have these huge spikes for our citizens, especially those least able to afford it. Things like that should have been considered before these changes were implemented. But I was the one no vote.
Yes, and I made mention of that. I clearly remember that you were the only one that voted no. And again, I stated it on your show, and I've said it here too. The only one that told us rates are going to go, your bill payment is going to go up. Now, the question is, and again, the question that is on the mind of a lot of folks out there, and I made mention of this yesterday at the city commission meeting. What is the city going to do to alleviate the pain that is being felt by the citizens of Brownsville right now? Are there any works right? Because again, we were out there distributing a lot of money yesterday, which is great. I love the zoo. I love a lot of these things. Some of them are not too much, but that's just my personal thing. But what are we doing as a city to alleviate the pain of hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of people in the city of Brownsville?
I don't know what authority we have as far as how far we can act. I know we set the rates. But again, the rate is just about what we're charging for electricity. That's not the fuel charge. And that's where I think the problem is that the fuel charge is skyrocketing. And there was a subsidy there before that they took away. But I don't know if as a commission, we can go back and mandate that they put some of these things back, or if it has to come from the PUB board. I've got to talk to the lawyers about that. But we need to look at what are our options. What can we do?
But PUB is ours.
It is.
It's ours, the city of Brownsville. So why would we have to go to Brusiac and to the PUB board when it's ours? And
I'm not saying we would. I'm saying I don't know what the law is,
because this is
it's
one
a separate entity. Even though we own it, has its separate board. It's a separate corporation. I don't know what the law is on what can the commission mandate.
Yeah, but that should be, I think, one of the main questions is who governs, who rules, who runs? Because this is one of the reasons why we have the mayor as on the board as an
De facto
abracadabra individual on there. But we get nothing from him. We're not getting any answers. We're getting contradictions to the truth. And I don't want to call him a liar, like some individuals go out there calling other people liars. But what he said was not true. Our bill is not substantially less, and it really threw a lot of us for a loop, because it sort of felt like he's trying to call us as liars. But it got proven that we were right and he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, who do we hold responsible for all this mess? Now, that's one of the things we want to know. Why can't we start allowing private companies to come in here and start the bidding war and to start the negotiations? The other thing is, and again, it's my constant question: where are $135 million?
I'd like to know that too. That's what we're waiting for the audit for.
Yeah.
Didn't they mention something about like some percentages that was going to be like reimbursed to the citizens, or to like, I guess, the people that pay you PUB, like a while back that the mayor said?
No, the mayor said they were going to roll back the rates, and that was approved. But whether or not it would be like a subsidy or paying money back, it would be if there's money on hand sitting somewhere, and that's what the audit's supposed to tell us: is where's the money? Were they putting it in a bank account waiting for Tenasca to happen? Were they putting into other things? Where's the money? That's what we need to know.
Well, I think, yeah.
And what's the latest date, or like as far as like the audit so-called being done? Because I know it's been pushed back since May or March.
Let me see when the last update I got was. The last update I got, which is at the beginning of the month, they were looking at about 2 weeks.
From now that it'll be ready?
That's what it looks like.
So mid-September. So hopefully by end of
Should be
September,
before the end of
we
September.
have a statement.
If it stays on track, before the end of September.
Do you think that we're going to see a lot of surprises in the audit?
That depends on what you consider a surprise. I think if we find out a lot of the money was run off with, I wouldn't be surprised. Would you?
No, not at all.
So I wouldn't call it a surprise.
Imagine if you find out that there's nothing in that account and all that money. Who would be held responsible if that? Like, let's say there's all that money is already out the window. Who
It
would
would
be
be a
held
question of-
responsible? Who
It
would
would
they
be a question
prosecute?
of where did it go?
Yeah.
And was it spent in a way that would have been allowable under the law, given that it was collected for a certain purpose? That's what we need to know.
Is this how behind we are on the comments?
Yeah, sorry. Let's just get through them real quick. I don't want people to feel like a weird. Like, he's left at Congress. Yes, yo, go to work for a lobbying firm making millions. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, U.S. Magistrate Judge Ronaldo Morgan was told that Gallegos was medically unavailable and he suffered a cardiac event. Yes, 100%. Vela Middle School is named for a judge. Yeah, Filemon Vela's dad, I think. Filemon Vela moved to greener pasture. He didn't find representing people profitable. Instead, there's more money. Yeah, but why didn't he finish his term? That was the weird part, you know?
Because he had how many more months to go?
9?
Almost a year.
Yeah, 9 or 10 months. Yeah, something like that.
Didn't he resign like in February?
Yeah, and Lucio resigned in January.
Yeah.
It was just
Bella's term would have run until January of the following year, so it was like 11 months.
both of their terms ended in December 31st, right?
No, January. When
January
they were
20th.
sworn in.
We need change, people. Remember November to vote new. Well, the county I think is January the 1st. But I'm not too sure exactly in regards to what the state does. I'm not sure. They already could possibly slip when it rains. Lawsuits waiting for happen. Maggie, are you attending court? Yes. There's a restaurant downtown that uses the sidewalk and street to seat customers. Did they rent it from the city or did they buy? I think that you're referring to Terras, and I think that, and again, Commissioner, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I think that they got a certain permit because of COVID, and I don't know that they've called it back on. I don't know if they're still doing that anymore.
I know it's still out there. Yeah, that's Terra's. And just like where you've got certain restaurants that had a parking space blocked off to allow for pickup, and a lot of that was put in place because of COVID. And I know they've stopped adding to the number of spaces they'll do that with. And I think it's getting close to the point where they'll probably take those back unless they designate more pickup parking for downtown.
People have been asking for lights on Morrison and Laredo due to a lot of accidents, and they have not done anything about it. Now we're getting some for the bike trail.
No, we approved months and months ago. We approved the funding for the new traffic light at Morrison and Laredo. It was ordered. The engineering and traffic study for synchronization has to be done also. But I know we were public about that it'll be in by the end of this year.
Hey, speaking of months and months ago, any updates on those bus stops benches?
Yep, I talked about those on my show, and I just asked for an update to see how far along we are on the new ones they were already putting in and how many are still to go and how many total covered bus stops we'll have when it's done.
Who's in charge of that?
Brownsville Metro, or the Multimodal Transportation Department. That's
Who's
who
in
Brownsville
charge of
Metro-
Brownsville Multimodal?
Transportation Department.
I can tell you, me and his
I'm
mother.
saying, like, who's in charge? Who's the person in charge?
Oh,
Not the.
Joel Garza is the director of that department.
Hey, Dana, you sold me brunch. The record you request is not the same as the in-debt record request you paid for that. What, a few bucks? Come on, man. Erasmo, you better get back in Facebook, Joe. You better side is show. Hey, let me tell you, it was a kind of cute little side little gig. Let me see. The CMB has done a great job to provide a safe place for children, plus safety training and prevention programs to their volunteer staff. Again, look, I don't want any of these places shut down. I don't want people, to go out thinking just during that specific amount of time, people just wanted answers.
And Erasmo, let me say something on that also. Not even just the Children's Museum, but it was a result of that circus, not at last night's meeting, at the previous meeting. There are organizations, nonprofit organizations that serve the community, the underprivileged community, that lost donors because of the allegations being made. And it wasn't the Children's Museum that lost money. So the lies are having a detrimental effect.
Well, I think, and again, I don't know if it's the lies. I mean, it could be just a lot of different circumstances. You know,
No. The donor told the nonprofit, I'm sorry, but I heard what happened at the commission meeting. And if you all are affiliated with that, then I don't want to be associated with you anymore. And this was an organization that had nothing to do with the Children's Museum, nothing to do with any of that. But because the statements were made the way they were and everybody's money got tabled, a donor pulled their funding to another organization.
Was there a lot of money?
In the thousands.
I like thousands. Erasmo Royal Santos is calling you out. Is Roy claiming you are a liar? I don't think he said that.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. No. So no answer. Come on. Everyone was talking about Roy. Now no one will answer.
What's the question? We will answer any question.
Yeah. The city should adopt a waiver where applicants have to disclose whether they are related to any current, former employee, contractor, benefactor of the city of Brownsville. Will offer more transparency during the hiring process. Not only the
We have
city.
that already.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of
chapter
application?
38. That's part of chapter 38, the Code of Ethics, and it talks about within certain degrees of consanguinity or affinity that we can't even appoint them to a city board, for example, if they're related to us within a certain degree.
That's part of the ISD too. Is when you're applying, they ask you. Even I was applying for a volunteer. They were asking me if I'm related to anybody. Quick question.
The comment was made, and look, I don't know. And I received the comment in regards to Mr. Leal out there working for Mr. Martinez at Stillman, and if because they're first cousins, if they fall into that circle, and again, I haven't checked because there's a circle of nepotism that you cannot go directly in regards to sister, brother, married, or cuñado, cuñada, but I not too sure in regards to the first cousin one. I promised that I was going to check up on that one, but I do not. I cannot say for a fact that the Lucios clean the money in the pizza business. I think that's only our mayor. But no, my concern, and again, there might be something on there. I know, and I would be more concerned in the county because in the county you've got every elected official out there's last name as employees throughout the whole county. That's where I think it's más easy to esconder. Why are you doubling down, man? I always do. That's not going to happen. As for your friend, Papaya Head is still a piece of crap. That's Mayor Mendez. Papaya, he don't care about no one, only for himself. Hey, Carlos Martinez. So what are you, as a commissioner, going to do to help us out?
Is this still with regard to PUB?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we called for PUB to come before the commission to explain what has caused these spikes. When we were talking about the bills going up, it was like an average bill of 1,000 kilowatt hours would go from, I think it was like $110 to $113. And of course, we're seeing increases way beyond that. So we want explanations as to what's driving it. And then we'll want to talk about what options are available to us as a commission.
There's a lot of things that need to change at PUB. And I'm hoping to be at that meeting because there's a lot of things that need to change. A lot of individuals can't pay their bill if it's over $500 on the app. I don't know if you've heard that, but after it goes over 500, you're screwed. You have to either call. It's got to change.
If there's a cap on how much you can pay, there should be a cap on how much they can charge you.
And let me tell you, and again, individuals 75% higher in regards to rates. And
people nail this question. I don't think a commissioner individually can force that. I know, just like we saw where we adopted term limits and changed the terms of judges and other things, there can be a charter amendment, but that has to be voted on by the public. And I think that usually goes to the charter review committee. They make recommendations to the commission. If the commission approves them, then it goes to an election.
Yeah, we need to change it. The commissioner could possibly take it for a vote. I hope so. Mr. Santos, your district is really dirty, sir. Who do you people need to go to? I was by the food truck place and parked by Caliche. It is kind of
Where's the
underrated.
food truck place?
Over there
At
by
Broken Sprocket?
Broken Sprocket.
No, one, the
Is it
district as a
Broken
whole,
Pocket or Pokies?
the district as a whole is not dirty. The district is pretty nice, actually, both downtown and District 3. There may be areas that need attention. Every district has that. But anytime you have a problem related to the city, cleanup, anything like that, 546 help. Go to 546 help, or you can go to brownsvilletx.gov and put in that complaint. It goes to our call center. A work order number gets assigned and it gets worked.
Okay, guys.
Speaking of that, do you think that there will ever renovate 14th Street?
You never give up on that, do you?
I would hope so, because I think just like we're seeing great things happen downtown where we're doing renovations there, I can't imagine the same would not happen with 14th Street.
Yeah.
And I was never a regular on 14th Street, but I know so many people that were. So I've heard of, was it Chapas?
Chapas.
I've heard of Chapas. I've never been to an event there, but I've heard about these great things. So I have to imagine that, yes, if we invested there, that we would start to see a great upturn as well.
We need to. I'm gonna go rapid comments, and if you capture a question that we can answer real quick, let's do that because it's late. Fuel has gone down over 50% from the highs. Are we going to feel the relief just like we felt the pain when it went up?
Now, keep in mind that this is not the same type of fuel that you're pumping into your car.
Yeah, it's different.
I think it's a different type of fuel that they use, and that's where the question is.
Maybe. People wasn't he. The problem wasn't that he was a gay. The problem was that he was a creep. Yeah, man. Only the places where Mendes Mayor lives. Ma'am. Okay. I went home for 2 weeks and thermostat was at 80 and still went up 150. It's madness. Should people be tapping into 29 million saved for future electric generations, formerly from Tanasca? It's 135 million to subsidize some of the fuel charges to the elderly fixed income, or would it make things worse in long term? No, use the money. True. Moises Vela. Yeah, 100%. Good evening. Good evening. They're lacking metro bus drivers. Routes have been canceled for several weeks. Yeah, this does not make sense. And when it didn't make sense to me, Commissioner, just so you know, I don't want to drag on too long. We talk about it later on. Is why is the bus barn getting this little facade out there, this wavy facade, when we don't have bus routes and we don't have bus drivers?
Because it was with a different fund.
Good question.
Wasn't it done with enough time? Maybe
Yeah.
it was approved months ago.
Well, but keep in mind, that wouldn't be a funding thing, because if we're lacking bus drivers, it's not because we don't have the money for the payroll for the positions, because those routes are there. So
Yeah.
that's a question of, do we have anybody who's willing to do the job at what the city pays?
Probably not. The lights down Sexta and Matamoros are very synchronized. And let me tell you, the mayor went out there and was all like proud, like, oh, we've synchronized lights. It's not true.
Ruben Torres is great for me, very synchronized.
I want to know why requests for speed bumps are behind or not even being looked at. What's the reason for that? Because there's so many.
Forward me your
Quick
request.
question, going back to the Sexta and everything. Did we ever find out who tried to run over Erasmo?
That's a great question.
I swear I wasn't driving that truck that day. But yeah, Kayla, please send that to me, and I'll follow up on it for you personally.
Thank you, Kayla. That MF confirmed everything I said.
No, they didn't.
Is it the MFer or?
No, I think she means MIDI Foundation, because the other.
I was thinking the MFer too. I was like,
about the other MFers.
Dang, Ashley's angry.
Don't name any names. Most serial killers have clean records and background checks until they get caught 10, 30 years, victims later. Have they hired a city manager? No. Props to Roy for doing the show, 100%. Honestly, logically, we will never know anything if ever happened with any child anyway, unless we had nonstop videos the entire 10 years. Someone had pleaded guilty of child distractions. Again, my prayer is that absolutely nothing happened, and absolutely nothing happened. Isn't it price gouging, and isn't it illegal? PUB bills.
No, price gouging would be that we know supply is down and demand is up. And because we know there's high demand, we're artificially raising the prices to gouge. But if this is about the market prices for gas are up, and that's just the cost we're offsetting, then it's not gouging.
Is there a way to find out how American Rescue Plan or CARES Act funds were spent in the city of Brownsville? Open record.
Absolutely. We should have reports on all of that.
Open record. My sister was a very nice 2-story house in Houston, Texas, and got a bill of $250.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say earlier, Mr. Commissioner De Los Santos, because PUB keeps pointing out that they're the cheapest compared to other areas, and I've started asking friends of mine who live North Texas, Mid Texas, Houston, Austin, up north, and their PUB went up, yes, but like by $30 from one month to the next. Not what ours have been going to.
When they're comparing and saying that they're the lowest, all they're looking at is the rate per kilowatt hour. They're not looking at the entire bill. So and ours, since they just lowered that rate, they can say, yes, we're lower. But the fuel subsidy went up, or the fuel charge went up. That's not what they're comparing themselves on. And so it also comes into question, those other cities, where are those companies getting it? Is it a nuclear plant? Is it a hydro plant? Is it something else that's not fuel? So they're not affected the same way.
Got it. Thank you.
Downtown is dead. Let it go. Yes.
No, downtown is not dead.
Downtown is not dead.
Let me tell you, my suggestion to downtown is still the same. Let's destroy half of it.
Downtown is nice, especially for walking at night.
You're crazy. Let's destroy half of it. Let's shut down the streets. Let's start using scooters and bikes solely in that area.
I vote for it. Some of what you said, but not destroy. Because I don't know if you saw that we went during the summer. We went up to Canada and came down through Maine, and all we did was went shopping in a lot of downtown areas. And what I saw that I liked was where we have some dilapidated buildings, we could either do parkings or public restrooms.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. But you said half. Now, I'm not saying half. I'm just saying here and there. If we can get some public restrooms up and some more parking.
Have you seen the north part? Have you seen the north part of downtown? Half.
Yeah, you have to go drive around in your tuk-tuk and point out.
About bringing over rival companies, guys. It's not going to happen. Who owns the Barrel House, Commissioner? That was my grandfather's. I think the Barrel House is owned by Gavito.
That might be right.
Yeah, Gavito.
That sounds familiar.
Why don't you ask me, Luis?
You never know. So what's up with that? With the Barrel House, like
it got burned. It burned down.
Okay, and then you can still fix it.
Fix it. No, I think. Well, it's privately owned. Good evening. Welcome back, Commissioner Dos Santos. Why do we have the same problem with tall grass and expressway? I'm convinced the TxDOT don't care about Brownsville.
No, it's not that TxDOT doesn't care. When you're comparing Brownsville to other cities, TxDOT only cuts, I think, like 4 times a year, and other cities pay extra to have more frequent cuts. That's why it looks better.
Anybody want to trade my utility bill for September? It's at $12.40. No, that's crazy. Thank you. What's your email, Commissioner?
Roy.delosantos@brownsvilletx.gov. You can also find it on the City of Brownsville website.
The MFers, you have to be more specific. 35 billion. I appreciate you took a responsible step. Yes, guys. Sorry. I remember Santos from school. Look at him now. Congrats.
Thank you.
I'm confused. Why does Brownsville have to spend $90,000 in light that they sell the lights that they're taking to Mexico? Why? That's the extensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was $90,000 just for the candy cane extensions.
Mm-hmm.
Vote for change, says Brownsville. Don't forget, I'm at 100%. How is it possible that a woman could get run over and killed on Boca Chica, 30 feet from Paredes, where there's 4 cameras or traffic lights, and city claims none of the cameras are working?
When did that happen? I hadn't heard about that.
I haven't heard about that one either. Let us know, Joe. Will the city receive bipartisan infrastructure act funds? Will the city have public hearings so the public can recommend how those funds will be spent?
I don't know the answer to either one of those questions, but email me as well. I'd love to follow up on that.
That's a great question. I meant to ask, say kosher, like honest, like never. Good. I've seen Proudy walking around the market square on the weekends patrolling. Why?
Because as we have more activities down there, we want people to feel safe.
Downtown is not dead. Try it out. A good place to go. It's dead.
No. My sister-in-law is dying to come back down. She lives in Austin. She's dying to come back down to Brownsville for the weekend, and all we're going to do is hit the downtown restaurants. That's all she wanted to do.
Tell me when you're doing that. I'd love to meet up with you guys.
Okay. I'll let her know that we've got a commissioner who's willing to.
Am I going to get invited, Maggie, or no?
No. No, we want to have fun.
Not with that attitude, Erasmo.
Now that is it. It's dead. Now that is nice walk at night. Maybe if you like running away from the hobos and the prostitute
It's
and the
like,
and the crack whores. Anyone remember Daniel before knows that Roy was supported in his activities. You know what activities I'm talking about?
They're probably talking about drag. That's the only thing you could talk about. And anybody who remembers Daniel before, he moved here. He was not a resident here. He didn't grow up here.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have nothing against
Nice
people.
try at insinuating.
I have no issue with individuals wearing whatever they want to wear, dressing whichever way they want to dress. Come on, guys.
No.
Erasmo, who owns the property who requested grant money but empty lot? Solaris.
that
But
was the LLC.
yeah, one of the LLCs that is involved with Trey Mendez. We still haven't gotten answers on all that. But I think those are the questions that only Trey Mendez can answer, but will refuse to answer. When will the murals begin flooding? No time soon. One of the things that I think, Commissioner,
That's true. What happened to the third one?
well, besides the third one of the things that McAllen has started to do is they've started to get local artists to paint different parts of McAllen out there. That'd be kind of cute. But maybe, yeah, getting the third mural that we were promised would be okay.
Absolutely.
What happened May? That happened in May in front of HEB. The city claims that there were no working cameras. There are 4 clear cameras, at least 2 face the hit and run area.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Check on that.
Is the city planning on activities for Christmas? It would be great to visit.
Yes, they have lighting of different parks and of Market Square during Christmas and a Christmas parade and the Holiday Village.
The Holiday Village, I like. Christmas
Yeah,
parade,
very nice.
week, the lighting, more lighting. Why can't we have rivalry companies for utilities? We should, except
Hey,
for
and are we gonna have the Christmas trees anywhere else in downtown, or just gonna stay the same place?
same place.
That I don't know.
I'll go to Yasmin. The problem is the way the charter is written. It only allows for PUB. So there's got to be some way for individuals to go out there and make a change, make it happen. I asked for an
Just keep in mind 2 things when people are talking about other competitive, they're cheaper. One, they're just electric companies. So I know, yeah, my electric bill when I lived on the island had another company was cheaper because I was only paying them for electricity, not water, not trash, not everything else. So that's why it's easy to look like that. 2, remember during the winter storm when other companies and people were getting like $10,000 bills and $15,000 bills because it was based on market rates. And when demand went up, so did their bill. PUB was the one that made sure our citizens did not feel those costs passed on to them. Bills would have been a lot worse if we did not have PUB during that winter storm.
Why did I ask for an extension for my PUB bill? Waited for 3 hours. Why? Let me tell you, that's another big issue. PUB has shut its stores, and the wait time to get to speak to anyone is like 2-3 hours, 4 hours.
No, that's unacceptable. I started as in a call center operator with AT&T years ago, and customer service is very important.
Look, if he was a drag queen, if he dressed in female attire, whatever he wants to call himself,
If he wants to wear chanclas,
why is that an issue?
we don't care.
It shouldn't be an issue. And I never knew him when he did drag, or I never saw him do drag.
Yeah, but guys, let's stop going into individuals' dressing rooms, bedrooms. Start minding our own. I don't care for it.
Because you got 2 people here who like to dress the way we're not supposed to.
Amen.
Well, let me tell you, I dress amazingly.
Yeah, but you've got some funky stuff too.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you do.
This guy attributed because I think I'm known in the city of Brownsville. I got
Erasmo stuff should be kept in the closet.
que no salga.
And I've always been mocked for the way I dress. I either dress too manly or too Little House in the Prairie. So,
You're the Maggie Cooper.
oh yeah, now I'm too Anderson Cooperish.
Guys, thank you, Commissioner Las Chanclas, for coming on. I mean, Dos Santos, sorry.
I don't mind it.
I
embrace it.
I know, I'm just joking with
I'm proud of who I am.
you. Commissioner Las Chanclas, you're amazing. Maggie, you're amazing. Sam, you're amazing sometimes. And I'm amazing. Siempre. I'm just joking. Guys, have a great evening. Social distance, face covering, hand sanitizer, still doing all that crap. It's been a late night. You know, we're not doing 2-hour shows. Thanks. It's good to be
More.
back on all platforms, guys. Guys, be good to each. See you tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Be good to each other. Continue to be good to me. God bless.